see what happened, because this was a Fnatic that we've not really seen before prior to this final. We saw Palmatoro playing incredibly aggressively, and in the words of Apfel from Mouse, he believes that Palmatoro is really stepping into a similar role to what the NA junglers have, in that this early aggression and really snowballing the game for his team.
This was something we touched on at the start of the show, is that this is something that Fnatic has been trying to do for a while now. They've been really focusing on being a bit more aggressive, playing the more North American style compositions and heroes. It was something that they started working on all the way back last season at London. I talked to Palmatoro about this, and this is something they said, yeah, you know, this is, I want to transition into that style. It's a lot of work, because you have to basically like completely forget about how you normally play the game, and just adapt this totally new style. It's been a bit of a learning curve for them, but they are starting to figure it out.
It definitely felt like Fnatic were getting the better of SK in these drafts, and the Scarf was a thing of beauty right here in this series. And also, once again, you mentioned it earlier, the Baptiste captain for NetToilet was crucial in this game.
Yeah, and they played Baptiste 4 times, along with the Blackfeather 5 times in the past 8 drafts I've looked at Fnatic. So those are going to be 2 heroes that we're gonna see come out a lot from the side of Fnatic here, and they usually flex that Baptiste as a captain, and they play it very, very well.
I certainly do, and we'll see whether these drafts are going to be similar coming into this week's games, because SK definitely felt like they got the worst end of the drafts last week, but obviously they've had 2 weeks now to prepare for this series. They knew they were coming up against Fnatic, so they've been able to look at those just like we have now and analyze what went wrong, analyze how to move forward. And I'm curious to see what they're going to have up their sleeves, whether there's any new compositions that they're going to be bringing to the table. Do we have predictions on what is expected to be seen from these 2 teams?
Yeah, I think that with SK, they have been known for their melee laners. And now Kvalfar has started to play like the Baron. They played Baron actually 3 times. So with Baptiste coming out as a captain, they have a lot of lockdown potential. So SK needs to either ban it or take it away, because I feel like giving Baptiste to Fnatic is going to give them a really strong counter to SK's composition that they would like to draft.
All right, so Baptiste has to be a focus, which is something we've not really seen earlier on today. Is there any other standout picks for you, Bacon, that you think are going to be a huge focus in these drafts?
I think Samuel is also going to have a lot of priority. It's just a pick that's very popular right now in terms of we see getting banned all the time. Both of these teams play a lot of that Samuel. Tyras and Palmatoro are both very well known for it. Scarf as well, I think, could be another one that sees a lot of contention in this matchup.
So SK banning away Edge is really interesting. They actually picked him 4 times in the past 8 drafts that I've looked at for SK. So banning it away from themselves is very interesting. With Baron being banned, Vox is the next potential pick here. But then that leaves Kestra open for Fnatic. I haven't seen Fnatic play Kestra though. They do like the Blackfeather, which isn't as good into a Vox, especially in a late game. So let's see if Fnatic is going to then pick that Kestra here, or are they going to go and stick to their Blackfeather comfort pick? But the healers are open, so they're definitely going to pick Grace or Lyra here before they pick one of their carries.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's definitely safer picks right now. You don't have to go for the carry immediately. Captains are available. And also, when you have a pick followed by a ban, you can grab either Lyra or Grace and then deny the other for the enemy team.
Yeah, and they are going to go for the comfort Blackfeather pick. Wow.
And they ban away the Lyra, which is, again, something we've seen them not, trending towards the Lyra, but this is actually really smart. By going for the Blackfeather, banning away the Lyra, now SK has to either ban away the Grace, or they basically have to choose between the Grace or the Samuel, and whichever one they let through, Fnatic can just go ahead and pick up.
Or Baptiste or Cath, because Baptiste actually has been played by both teams more often, twice by SK in the past 8 games, and then 4 times by Fnatic in the past 8 games. So if they have Baptiste open, Fnatic will tend to pick it and then flex it either in jungle or as a captain pick. So now that leaves Grace open for Fnatic. They definitely need to take Grace here, because if they give Grace over to Vox, Blackfeather won't be able to kill him because of Grace's divine intervention.
Grace also works really well with Blackfeather, and then that last pick, they'll be able to get either Samuel or Scarf if they want to, and so either of those 2 I think would work really well with this composition. It really just depends on what SK is going to round out their team with. I would expect to see, Arden is an option, but perhaps a Lance could come through for the side of SK. They really do like playing Lance, but Raph has been playing so much Arden this season.
Raph's Arden, I really like Raph's Arden, so hopefully they do pick the Arden. That's going to give Vox a lot of sustain. If Grace and Blackfeather jump on him, the Vanguard and the Bear is going to get him out of a tricky situation. And then Samuel is good because once he has Frostburn, he can then pull up his Drifting Dart, Madison Verdict, and then counter-engage a huge dive coming from Blackfeather and Grace. And then the constant slows is going to help them Vox then re-engage with Samuel doing a lot of AoE damage onto that Blackfeather and Grace here.
Samuel would be a very powerful pick. It's something that we've seen a huge amount in the last few weeks in terms of both picks and bans. More bans recently. I feel like it was something that was getting picked up in just about every game. Then more recently it's been much higher on the ban priority list, as I feel like there are a few CP junglers that have fallen off a little bit, and that has become kind of the staple, if you will.
Yeah, and his Samuel being picked, Fnatic are going to go with Scarf here. Most likely, Scarf would make the most sense for them. Or they can do a CP Blackfeather, which they do play. But, oh, wow, they're going to go with the Cruel. Cruel coming back, man.
Like,
man,
every series.
I got to update my drafts.
Every series, Krull has been locked in now. That is likely going towards that jungle, but once again, there's a situation here where it's potentially double weapon power as well.
It very likely will be double weapon power at this stage. And again, this is largely just going to be used to try and prevent the Samuel from having a strong jungle. That's what this Krull pick is for. That's why they're taking this. I think the Scarf may have actually been a better pick in this situation, but the double weapon can still work, as we have seen already.
Yeah, so now I have a question for you guys. We likened Krull to Grumpjaw earlier. Grumpjaw Grace was terrifying in the first week that Grace was in the Vainglory 8. Is this now the new version of the Grumpjaw Grace? Does Krull Grace just destroy everything?
Yeah, but Arden, Samuel, and Vox are actually good against Krull. Arden can just disengage off Krull, and Vox can just Sonic Zoom. So I think SK has a good chance here, for sure.
Okay, so maybe Fnatic kind of drafting themselves into a hole here, getting a little bit too clever for themselves and locking themselves into a bit of a counter composition. We'll see whether they're going to be able to play around that as we head towards this game. Let us know on social media who you are going to be voting for. Hashtag Vainglory8. This is going to be one heck of a matchup. Fnatic up against SK Gaming. It was a 2-0 to Fnatic last week, but they are tied for first place currently in the Vainglory 8. Only one of these two teams can move forward into the semi-finals, and we're going to find out which one of those two teams it is going to be. Let us know who you are supporting, but it is just about time to hop on into this game. A lot of pressure on both of these squads, a lot of points on the line, and importantly, seeding for the Unified Live Championship. SK were robbed of their bye in the last Unified Live Championship. They need to be at the top, but it's time to jump on into this game and find out who can take the first game of the series.
SK Gaming versus Fnatic. This was the other series that I was very much looking forward to. And, excited with this draft here. I mean, some Krull, Grace, Grace, Blackfeather, no matter which way you shake it up, that is going to be hard to deal with.
You know, I do really like the picks in a vacuum. I do think the point of the analyst desk was well made, though. This is perhaps a bit of a dicey composition to pick triple melee into. Yes, they have some good go buttons. You know, they can Dead Man's Rush in, they can use Benediction. Obviously, Blackfeather has his lunge, but at the same time, there's a lot of ability to kite backwards, a lot of ability to disengage or make engages kind of difficult with the Gauntlet. I think that SK has tools to really just deal with what Fnatic bring to the table here.
Yeah, we'll see. Net! Oh my goodness. Can I just take a moment? I got to tweet out real quick about how godly Net Toilette is.
He gets this one too. Can you imagine?
Oh my god. I'll uninstall Van. I won't do it. No. He'll stick it out! This guy, I mean, super fun player. But we're going to see if they can make it work. You know, Jackson, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, he almost got that mid as well. He's just going to chase. He's like, oh, I'm just jungling with you guys now. That's what I'm doing.
We're on the same team, right?
We're the red, blue. I don't know.
Right?
I'm not colorblind, so I don't know how the struggles are there. Maybe you could enlighten us. Palmatoro's here. He's got to jump in with Dead Man's Rush right there. The Vanguard onto Tyra as they're standing on the ground. I don't know. One of those definitely went the way of SK. Malice and Verdict connect onto Palmatoro's. He moves forward, taking a whole bunch of damage. That's not where you want to be. Techno late to the party, but first blood to SK. Now Raph with the Self Vanguard tries to get himself out. Does get himself out. Let's see if we do see K-Volvar dropping down to the Tri-Brush. Nah, he's back up. He's just going to farm right up in that lane.
Fnatic have somewhere they need to be? They're pushing this game pretty quick right now. A bit overly much for my liking. Palmatoro very aggressive, trying to set up a kill there. I do believe Net got one of the back camps. Overall, I think still not worth for Fnatic, especially because Palma's losing out on experience, or was losing out on experience when he was dead. They also lose another Treant, so 2 of those in the pockets of SK here.
SK.
I do think that they need to be aggressive, though. Like, I like the fact that they're choosing to apply pressure quickly. They just need to do it carefully. You know, they really do.
What do you think about Overdrive Fan of Heart this game? I feel like just the ability to keep your team from being slowed up. You choose a key target, like Feint of Heart them, and then you just follow those rose trails. And like
that
you, like every one of these targets, it'll help Curl Stick so much.
I mean, we've got to assume the Tyrus is going to go for Frostburn, so I like that quite a lot. Oh, Holy Nova!
Holy Nova, Batman! Tyrus, get out of here! He can't do it! That's the execute down from Palmatora as he does find the kill that he was looking for originally. Net Toilette and Palma. A little bit of control. They're going to drop a scout trap. I really like that scout trap on the mid. Raf, I don't think he has no idea that's there. So that'll give a nice vision over to Fnatic for anything that happens in the next few minutes.
Let's see if Palma can pick up this Treant. Yep, it's going to be 2-1, so not a bad situation for SK necessarily. Palma's struggling to find the same openings by the Tribush here that he was in the back of the jungle. Is he going to go for the tension bow build? That's another question on my mind here, because I think Palma should in this game. There's 2 very squishy targets on the side of SK. You want to burst them quite quickly, and you want to get advantages earlier on. Although, with Tendo on weapon, I mean, fight.
Well, let's jump in. Benediction into the Holy Nova. Tyrus taking a whole bunch of damage, and that was a 3 vs 2 situation that they turned around. Now Tetno's here, on point lands. Raf should be going down very quickly. Deadman's rush in there to end that one in K Volifar. Palmatora's like, hey, bud. Oh, we are not on the same team. This is not where you want to be, my man. He goes down 4-1 in favor of Fnatic as Palmatora and Nettolet will take the backs. I don't know if they get the Treant here, but at least they get the majority of the backs here away from SK.
Really, really nice stuff from Fnatic. It's very difficult to fight in a choke point like that against Grace Kroll. Holy Nova is pretty likely to land, and Kroll during that stun gets 3 or 4 weakness stacks. That is the difference between winning and losing a fight a lot of the time, due to the burst damage it provides your smite and the sustain it provides you. So you really can't afford to fight like that. You can fight, I think, if you're SK early, but it just needs to be either in the open or with everyone kind of spread out, surrounding them, so that the Holy Nova doesn't land onto 2 out of 3 people. I think it was a tactical misplay more than a strategic one from SK. That being said, Fnatic, they played that tactically very well. You know, they chose where they were going to retreat to and then sort of set up the defenses and fight. So I like that a lot. I think Fnatic should be able to snowball off the back of that if they keep the pressure coming.
Yeah, it looks like they are. They use the vision from that scout trap on the mids. Palmatora moves up, takes that. He's going to take the fronts as well. Tetno, as far as sitting on 49 last hits 5 minutes in, he's right where he needs to be. A great job, but the thing is, you look at K Volifar, 35 last hits. I mean, he's struggling, very much so.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because he tried to make a rotate and give his team an edge rather than just staying in lane and farming safely, and he really got punished for it. Wow!
Oh, Tyrus getting punished here. Drifting Dark, he needs to connect with the Mouse Verdict and get smited down! Palmatoro's like, you know what, I'll just hang around and probably take this Crystal Sentry as well. That sounds pretty good. Holy Noah would do a little bit of zoning for Palmatoro there. Nettolet just being that frontliner that his teammate needed. And Raf forced to move up into the lane because there's really nowhere else he can go. As Fnatic just have complete control of the jungle here.
That fight was a 2 versus 1 basically from Palmatoro. At this point, once he gets his next item, which is a Poison Shiv, I think he can probably do whatever he likes, so long as he doesn't get stunned or slept. I'd like to see Fnatic leverage that. You know, go with him. Don't make him 2v1 just because he can, but actually go together. Make sure the fight happens effectively and without you getting too bruised off the back, and then maybe take a sentry or take a gold mine. Try and, like we saw so well from Calamity Reborn earlier on, leverage the kills that you're getting in order to actually get some objectives and pressure on the map too.
I'd like to just anything I see well done today. I just want to go back to Calamity Reborn on. Say, hey, for example, from Hell's Heart, very reminiscent of Calamity Reborn from Hell's Heart. As Fnatic move forward, find that kill on the Cave Alphar. Nowhere to go, no reflex block to use, and pretty easy kill, all things considered.
Calamity Reborn are definitely a benchmark for Europe right now after that game. I think that's probably the easiest way of phrasing that. Sentry, look at this, on spawn. Look at the timing. This is what I love to see from top teams, when they time objectives and just make it happen.
Crystal Sentry.
Beautiful. So good. I love the timing. Another thing, Jackson, I think, when we talked about the strengths of Fnatic, we talked about the ways that maybe SK could pick them apart as well. But one of the strengths is just Grace, and her ultimate onto one of these tanky targets as they move in. Oh, Techno had taken a bit of damage there. Fnatic in a tough place, drifting dark, moving back. Palmatoro is here though. Techno, Rose offensive back into that one. Oblivion off the mark. Gauntlet's down, two-man stone on the wall. Palmatoro can't stand through this. That was a big mistake out of Fnatic, and they are paying for it. Cave Alphar gets the Vanguard. It's gonna think twice about moving in under that Crystal Sentry. They can't really deal with that the same way that Fnatic can. Techno, he's gonna take the chance as they hang around. This is Gold Miner going to SK. A precarious position to be in. Cave Alphar doesn't want to get onto the Gold Miner, trying to zone Fnatic, but this means Gold Miner is going down very slowly. I'd expect Net to try and steal this. Is he gonna jump in? He's gonna jump in with a Holy Nova. He gets it!
Oh, that's so dirty.
God. Who is this man, and how does he do what he does? Boomerang! Oh my goodness, all the way from Australia with that boomerang is gonna land. They find the kill. Techno should be able to take Raph down to the southwest while Palma charges up, moves forward onto Cave Alphar. Dead Man's rush in. Quite a bit of damage coming out. Stacking up, and boom, with the Spectral Smite, the ace 9-3. 8.5 minutes in, Fnatic.
That was a boomerang from Hell's Heart, but it was also a boomerang play. They managed to go all the way in the wrong direction and all the way right afterwards. That was let's break down what went wrong for Fnatic and then get to what went right later on. In solo queue, if you're having a really great game, sometimes you'll just be like, I don't really want to buy defense. I can just kill people, right? That works.
That's pretty much every game for me.
Exactly, right? So you can forgive Palmatore for not buying a reflex block when the only way that they lose fights is if he does not have the reflex block ability on a Silence or a Gauntlet or an Oblivion. He had to go in and then back out because he saw CC coming 3 times in that fight. At the end, it's too late. So that was the first big issue, I think. Going for a reflex block earlier on would have been pretty nice. Maybe it was just inactive. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I'm pretty sure he didn't have it. Then, afterwards, obviously, SK they stayed a little bit too long. Oh, here we go.
From Hell's Heart, this is Tyrus getting ripped apart. Tyrus melted down Gauntlet, stunning them up, but only for a moment, holding them back. Grace comes through with the Divine Intervention. They will be able to take that Toilette down, but this looks like Fnatic have the upper hand and should be able to find the ace if they can come through. Yeah, there's the damage for Raph. They'll drop the turret aggro off themselves and jump right back in, and should be able to take this turret down and maybe the mids as well. Fnatic, a very clean engage and play there.
Yeah, that was really, really nice. This is something Grace just facilitates better than any other hero, in my opinion. The ability to dive turrets. You've got that massive heal that lets one person be the turret tank and stay the turret tank for just too long. The game's not balanced around that. It's not how it works. But Fnatic, they're now firmly in the lead. They're tripling the kills of their opponents. We've got an Aegis on Palmatoro now. He's gone all the other ways. Like, no reflex block, Aegis. Let's do it. I like it.
Yeah, at least he realized what he needed, and maybe he didn't even realize it could have been a teammate as well. I'd like to give credit to Net Toilette on that one, just because I'm a big Net fan.
Net is a great player. All the members of Fnatic have been around for quite some time at this point, but they seem to have found a really nice home here. Let's see if they can keep the ball rolling. I know, back at the Unified Championship for Spring, they were talking about how they were going to be taking a gap year from school in order to really focus on Vainglory.
Yeah.
They have shown, steadily improving play, I think. So it's paying off. They just got to keep that ball rolling towards the Summer Championship.
Oh, totally. And this is one of the teams, when they were put together, that, I thought, a lot of other people thought as well. This team has what it takes to be one of the best in the world. To be, like, top 3 at Worlds if they're performing, if they do really well. They kind of haven't showed that yet, but...
To be honest, though, I mean, I think they have raw talent, but when they first formed, my thinking was they didn't have a strong leader. They didn't necessarily have someone who's going to do a shot call.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
But I think we're starting to see maybe Net step up into that role. That's kind of the impression I get from like when we talked to the team.
Yeah.
He does seem like a fairly vocal member. But yeah, at the beginning, I felt that was definitely an issue. You can see in this game, no problems with shot calling, and that's kind of why I bring it up. And I talk about their improvement. You know, their engagements have been on point. They've been able to stagger their CC and get the chain down, and that's exactly what you need to do with this comp.
Yeah. It seems, I mean, maybe like a little bit vanilla of explanation of like the way they're engaging. It could be as easy as Net saying, "Hey guys, I'm Grace, so if you see a target, just go." Right? Like Palmatoro's just like, "Oh, I can throw my stun." Net's like, "Yeah, I told you, just go."
I guess. I mean, that seems pretty legit, to be honest. Grace is one of those heroes that is very forgiving of engages. You can kind of just go for whatever you want a lot of the time.
Now, okay, in all seriousness, right now, Tyrus does have the Broken Myth completed, okay? So Frostburn, Broken Myth, if he does get, like, legit BM stacks in a fight, and they don't take him down, he's able to kite through Drifting Dark, yeah, that's pretty decent damage coming out.
That is true. I mean, okay, so now that we're, like, 13 minutes in here, I want to talk about one thing for a second, which is that there is a way for Fnatic to basically guarantee themselves good positioning on Kraken. If they go for a fight at around 14 minutes, even if they lose it, they'll be able to get back. And they're forcing SK to really have a committed fight. If they don't, and they get pushed back, then Fnatic gets to set up for free. So I'd like to see Fnatic, in about a minute, you know, maybe like 14, 15, 14, 10, just pressure them. Even if it's under turret, just poke. Just get some pressure down, make SK do something. Because otherwise, you get that free setup on Kraken, which can be massive. Having the initiative, being near the shop, for example, and able to buy more and more flares as you sit there, really can be the decision-making point when it comes to actually being able to take Kraken in 15.
That's such a tough position to be in. When you're sitting on the opposite side, someone's got control of the shop, and you're like, dude, I got one flare left, team. You flare them out, and then if there's no engage potential, yeah, like, what are you going to do? You really have to roll the dice at that point. Fnatic at this point, kind of pinning SK down, but maybe giving an opening here. Kvalifar, a little bit of damage coming out onto Tetno. Fnatic appear to be just looking for that opening, this window of opportunity for them. They're still very strong. If they find one target moving forward, they just stun, go from there. And this is going to be just the backs taken away one more time. Fnatic, very patient and very methodical.
Fnatic now has an Echo on Net Toilette, so that's going to be big in this next fight too. I don't think there's a great answer to what Fnatic has just yet from the side of SK. They really need to land one of their big ultimates. It's very difficult with the Aegis on Tetno and Palma, as well as a Crucible, as well as the ability to just bail someone out. Maybe their best focus, if she positions too aggressively, would be the Grace, but I don't see that happening too much.
That feels quite bad, man, to say. Palmatoro from the back. We'll mess with the Hell Salad. Look at the Gauntlet. Raph, just a very good job on that Gauntlet. The Oblivion's going to come through, blocked off on a couple as the Atlas Pauldron applied onto SK, trying to kite back with Kvalifar down. This should be Tyrus falling shortly as, look at the chase for it. The Rose Trail is so easy to follow, and it's going to be Raph falling as the last man trying to buy enough time, and yeah, it's not going to be enough. Deadman's Rush in for the end. Ace there, coming through for Fnatic. Impressive stuff, 15-4. How about a Kraken?
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you need two good ultimates if you're SK. The Gauntlet was great, actually. It interrupted the Propel's Heart. That's huge. It actually made Tetno burn a charge of Rose Offensive to get over the Gauntlet to get back into the fight because he had to run because of the split. It was as good as it gets. The Gauntlet really was. But having two Grace ultimates is kind of all she wrote in a lot of these fights. There's just nothing you can do against that. It's so difficult.
It's especially if Palmatoro has weakness stacks on a target and gets to go ahead and use Spectral Smite. Like, he's getting a healed for what, 400, 500 healing? And then you have Divine Intervention come through as well. Not like he's using it on him every single time, but that is it's just so much sustain. Plus the durability that comes out of the Holy Shield. It's just nuts right now. SK between a rock and a hard place at this point, and it just feels like Fnatic should be able to close this game out if they move in carefully enough. Or just cautiously enough. They're
good
going to move in.
stun.
There's the stun. They are just ripping
Bye-bye.
Cave Olivar apart. Cave Olivar melted down. Fnatic getting splashed on a whole bunch of Malice and Verdict damage coming through. Gauntlet, not really catching too much. Just Tetno on the end. Tetno doesn't care too much. Fountain forced out. This is SK on their last leg. Kraken will... they just melted through. This is game.
Yep, very strong stuff there from Fnatic. Yes, maybe it looked a little hairy in the fight right at the end, but Kraken's still full health. What are you going to do as SK? I think there is some big issues in the early game that just put Fnatic off to such a great start that Tetno, for example, hit spikes earlier than you'd maybe want him to. It was so difficult for SK to come back into that game.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm just like, day 2, Fnatic versus Calamity Reborn, that could be pretty neat.
That'd be pretty fun.
Wait, hey, SK are not out of this yet, and to let us know maybe what they can look to improve upon going into Game 2 in this series, we're going to go ahead and throw it back to the analyst desk.